silence. 2. Destruction from silence. 2. Destruction. Leave my hand and hold my leg. I say leave my hand and hold my leg. Mike, stop it. You will kill him. Oh, Mike. He punched his face and knocked him down with his leg. Mike pounced on Donnie Mills and hit his cheek with another heavy blow. Blood began flowing from Donnie's nostril and mouth. Please help me. Please, I need help. Jessica yelled out. Her shout attracted numerous people to the scene. They held Mike and took him off from Donnie Mills. The blow was powerful, so it made him lie down unconsciously. They rushed him to hospital for treatment. Why are you fighting? Mike slapped Jeremiah for asking him a question. John quickly intervened. He asked, what is the problem? Mike answered, he is cheating on me with my girlfriend. It's not true. Jessica interfered. Mike asked, how many times have I seen you with Donnie Mills? Smiling and hugging each other. If you have seen me several times with him, does it mean I'm cheating on you? Don't provoke me. If you dare me, I would beat you up. Jessica kept quiet as Mike grabbed her hand and dragged her home. Jessica was light-skinned, slightly stocky, and her lips are often dry and cracked. She was dull and not quick to grasp new information. She always takes an action before thinking about the consequences. While Mike was muscular, aggressive, and had a very short fuse, minor annoyances quickly escalate. His reactions are often explosive. He sees the world as a constant struggle, where he needs to fight for his place. Sit down, Mike softly told Jessica after reaching home. He stroked his hand on her thighs, looked straight in her eyes, and ached. Do you know I love you? I don't know, Jessica replied. Mike asked why. She stated, if you love me, then stop embarrassing me. I only fought for what belongs to me. What shows that I'm yours? Marry me and make me your own. Okay, I'm ready. Are you serious? Jessica joyfully shouted and hugged Mike. I'm ready. I want to go and see your parents. This is good news, Jessica responded. Do I need to go with something? Yes, she replied. According to our tradition, you are required to take along 2 crates of beer and 2 crates of malt. It's just an introduction. Why do your parents need malt and beer? Do they want to open drinking bar business? Mike uttered some words. I repeat, it is a tradition. Jessica responded. The next day, as the sky was a placid, almost unnerving blue, the sun, a pale disk, struggled to pierce the remnants of the storm clouds clinging to the horizon. Mike went out to purchase the drinks with Jessica. They brought the drinks home, took their bath, changed their clothes, and moved to Jessica's parent house. That day was very colorful and happy moment because it was the first time for Mike to see Jessica's parents. Welcome, my son, Jessica's dad voiced out. Jessica introduced Mike to her parents, and they were glad to have him as their son-in-law. Mike arranged with Jessica and her parents and gave out the date for their wedding before leaving the house. The sun dipped low over the gift town, casting a warm golden glow on cobblestone streets, illuminating the quaint white church that stood at the edge of a sprawling meadow. It was a place where time seemed to stand still, a setting perfect for a wedding ceremony between Jessica and Mike. Jessica stood in front of the mirror in the church's modest bridal suite, her fingers trembling slightly as she adjusted her veil. The delicate lace reminded her of her grandmother's wedding dress, a treasured heirloom that she had lovingly restored for this day. Her heart raced with anticipation. Every detail had been carefully planned, from the wildflower bouquets to the soft music drifting through the air. But it was the next moment that mattered most, when she would see Mike waiting for her. Outside, the guests filled the pews, their laughter floating like the gentle breeze through the open doors. Friends and family had traveled from near and far, all wearing smiles that matched the cheerful day. Suddenly, the soft notes of a string quartet filled the air, signaling that it was time. As Jessica stepped onto the aisle, her breath caught in her throat. Mike stood at the altar, a handsome figure in his tailored suit, his eyes alight with joy. Time seemed to slow as they locked gazes, and in that moment, nothing else existed. The world around them faded, and the only sound was the rhythmic beating of their hearts. The ceremony began, led by a very funny woman with a blooming laugh and a collection of mismatched earrings, who spoke of love not just as a feeling, but as an action, a commitment to choose each other every day. She finally declared them married, not with a traditional pronouncement but with a simple, "May your roots run deep and your branches reach high." A wave of warmth washed over Jessica as she looked at Mike. His usually stoic face softened with a genuine smile. The guests erupted in cheers. Both families and the couples were also glad because the ceremony was successful. After 5 beautiful years of marriage, the couple days were filled with ordinary joys: morning coffee on their porch, long walks under the stars, and weekend afternoons spent tending to their modest garden. They finally received the news they had longed for. Jessica was pregnant. The town erupted in celebrations, with neighbors bringing over baskets filled with homemade goodies, well wishes, and advice that ranged from the practical to the downright peculiar. Jessica glowed with excitement, while Mike often found himself daydreaming about their future, imagining the little boy that would soon fill their home with laughter and wonder. On a crisp autumn morning, with leaves painting the ground in shades of gold and crimson, Jessica's labor began. She gave birth to a bouncing baby boy. Mike named his son after his father because he was the only child of his father. He was very happy and close to his family until he got a job in the timber industry and relocated to the heart of the Pacific Northwest, where the timber industry was the lifeblood of the village. Mike faced one big problem after relocating to the village. There was no good network for communication. Though his salary was very good and attractive, Mike always has to climb a tree before he can get a good network and call his family on phone. If Mike fails to make a call, it means nobody can reach him on phone. One early morning, Mike traveled to the village. In his absence, Jessica took their for years and 11-month-old son to the tax agency office to fulfill a legal requirement. It was a law in Gift Town to have your child name approved by tax agency for tax purposes before the child turns into 5 years, or else the parents would be paying a penalty for 10 years. "Madam, what is the name of your son?" the tax official asked. "My son is called Tintun Tintatula." The tax officials started looking at each other and finally burst into laughter. "Madam, we are sorry. We cannot approve this name. This name sounds misleading and difficult to pronounce. So, what should I do?" she asked. "We suggest you use a simple name. Anyway, where is his father? He has traveled and we don't hear from him." "Madam, you only have just 1 month to get your son name approved." Jessica sat down very confused. She tried to use the name of Mike's mother for the child. However, the name looked too long and difficult to pronounce. 3 sweet and simple names immediately appeared in her mind. "Sir, please can we use Livingstone, George Tin, or Donnie Mills?" "Use Donnie Mills," the tax official suggested. "Okay, do it for me," Jessica responded. The tax agency changed the boy's name into Donnie Mills. All the documents bearing the name of the boy were later changed into Donnie Mills. Mike returned home after 2 months. He was satisfied to see his family very healthy like rock. He hugged his wife and kissed her on the forehead. He later carried his son in his arms and uttered some words you have been missed. "My baby boy." Jessica entered into the kitchen and called Mike to join her with their son. Mike was astonished to see her wife serving him with his favorite food and drinks. They ate, drank together, and later moved to the hall to watch television before going to bed. The first tendrils of dawn were weaving their way through the heavy curtains, painting the bedroom a soft, bruised purple. Mike stirred, a groan escaping her lips as he tried to burrow deeper under the duvet. He loved these moments. The quiet before the world started to clamor for attention, but the persistent, insistent call of the clock on his bedside table was a relentless enemy. 6 a.m., another morning. Outside, the world was still holding its breath. The streetlights cast long, melancholic shadows, and the city was a patchwork of muted grays and blues. A lone bird chirped tentatively, the first note of a symphony yet to be composed. Mike watched it for a moment, a small smile tugging at the corner of his lips. There was a certain magic in these early hours, a feeling of possibility that seemed to fade as the sun climbed higher. He moved with practiced ease, from rooms to rooms, ensuring that things were in the order. To his surprise, he found new clothes for his wife in the wardrobe. He opened the filing cabinet and saw his appointment letter. Mike took a photo album in the filing cabinet and began going through his wedding pictures. As he rummaged through the photos, he found his son's birth certificate, and his name was changed to Donnie Mills. Mike stood frozen, a statue carved from shock and disbelief. New clothes for my unemployed wife. From Tin Ton Tin to Donnie Mills, he declared softly in amazement. He left the place very angry without even questioning his wife about what he discovered. The sun, a molten coin dropped behind the horizon, had left the sky shimmering with last vestiges of its warmth. It was evening. Mike wore a black cloth, black glove, and hanged a knife around his waist. He walked straight to his enemy's house. He looked at his left and right direction and found nobody around. He climbed the wall, stepped down, and rushed to put the light outside the compound off. Then he walked up to the door and knocked on it hardly. Donnie heard the knock in the night, so he opened the door. As he stepped his left foot outside, Mike stabbed him with the knife. He struggled, kicking and clawing, but Mike was strong enough. Donnie screamed continuously due to the pains. As a result, the sounds of his cry attracted neighbors to the scene. Though he died in his own blood, Mike was arrested and sentenced to life imprisonment.